Yo, Empire family, how are we today? Today we are going through what I think most people aren't actually watching right now. And I'm going to wrap this all up in about 10 minutes for you so you have everything you need to basically round out the week. And then looking into the weekend, and then come Monday, you should be somewhat prepared to keep moving forward. So the big thing I want to go through, right, is what people aren't looking at right now. Where is the real value when it comes to the crypto market, when it comes to trading? Everyone has their eye on Bitcoin at the moment. Every single person is chasing down Bitcoin. And I always keep seeing that Bitcoin 100,000, Bitcoin 100,000, and everyone keeps screaming that we're going back to that level. But is that the best play? That is the question you need to ask yourself. That is the question I'm asking myself. And it's why I think there is still a lot of better opportunities out there in the current market, right? Don't get me wrong. I do love Bitcoin, but I also do love trading. And that is my style. I like to trade the markets, not put all my eggs in one basket and hope that everything's going to go up, right? So at the moment, everyone is focused on Bitcoin, but I want to show you guys what I'm actually looking at, where I think a lot of the value isn't being seen yet. And thinking about this methodically on how I'm actually going to prepare myself for what's coming next. So without further ado, I want to get straight into it. I want to smash this out for you all so that you've got everything ready for yourself, ready to go, round out the week. Come Monday, you can hit the ground running, where I'll also go live on Coin Bureau trading as well. So to kick things off, I want to first jump into this. This is still something that a lot of people aren't paying attention to. I spoke about this earlier in the week on my live call within Empire, which I'll show you guys in a little while. But first things first, as it stands, there is still a CME gap between 79.6K and $83,000, right? And a lot of people aren't paying attention to this. And I think this is the section where people really need to start, because similar to others, I've been looking at Bitcoin and going, hey, how far can you actually push it? And I'll show you guys my chart in a little while. But as it stands, it still continues to hold around the 78K area, and the S&P 500 is still pushing up higher. And as we all know, and you guys can run the data, I spoke about this as well during the week, is Bitcoin and the S&P 500 are heavily correlated. If the S&P continues to run, then it shows a bit of confidence in the market. And right now, I personally think it's a little bit of overconfidence, given the whole magnitude of everything. But there's a massive CME gap between 79,600 and 83,700, which is still a potential target on the table. So I want to bring this to your guys' attention, because this helps me frame into my next conversation. And the next conversation I wanted to bring you guys' attention to is, this is Empire, we've got the resources page, but I wanted to show you guys this. A lot of people don't pay attention to this. Now, I've been in crypto for nearly 9 years now, and I trade religiously. It's what I do for a living. It's why I bring you guys this information, this education. But I wanted to show you guys the phases of the money flow and cheat sheet. Now, before I keep going further into everything, just a quick disclaimer, everything I share on this channel is not for financial advice. It's to give you guys some education, to share my opinion and my experience, then you guys can take something away from it, and hopefully it helps you guys on your own trading journeys. But the big one I wanted to point out is, right now we have seen a lot of the inflows of money, and to be fair, we've had a lot come in recently. I was just looking at this earlier today. We had a record $2 billion in net inflows for the 8th day straight, which is absolutely huge. But the big piece of the puzzle is, where does the money rotate to? Okay. We always see a lot of the money first come into Bitcoin. And it's what we've seen right now. But where is the real value? Again, going back to what my headline is and my thumbnail for this YouTube video is, where is the real value? Everyone's screaming 100K Bitcoin, but that's only about a 24 to 25% move from where we are now. It's not dramatically big, all right? So I want to show you guys again where I think this is going through, because as we see Bitcoin start to gain traction, we also see Ethereum starting to gain a lot of traction. And then from there, we flow into the larger caps, and then obviously your alt season sort of environment. Now, am I saying an alt season is suddenly just about to jump on the cards and everyone's going to be running for an alt season? No, that is not my point. The point of this message is, I want to show you guys what I'm seeing on Bitcoin, how that is going to then flow, in my opinion, onto the larger caps, in particular Ethereum, and how Ethereum is currently moving, and the next trading opportunity in which I'm potentially watching as well. So let me take you guys through this. Some of you will know this already, But again, the money loves to flow through Bitcoin into Ethereum, into your larger caps like your Solana, your Link, your top like 30, 40 tokens. And then it gets into the degen stuff towards the back end and you hit your real alt season, you see meme coins starting to fly. We are definitely not close to this yet, right? We've still got a long way to go. So I really want to focus on the Ethereum and the large caps because I see a lot of value in that right now. So before I get into the charts, I want to bring something to your attention because I want you guys to have this in the frame of your mind as I continue to go through a lot of this to set the context of where we're going. And remember, within the next 10 minutes, I want to make sure you guys have some valuable information that you can take it away and actually put it into your trading guidelines, trading journal, and even just put it into your framework when you're starting to look at the market. So the next one I want to bring your attention to is this. Now, a lot of people aren't paying attention here, but it is a very, very big topic. We see it happen religiously. And what I mean by that, since 2018, the midterm year or the midterm elections, is we've seen a sell-off in May. And we've seen a run-up historically into that. You can see that here, 1st of May, 2018, bang, we got a sell-off. We see it here, 2022, we get a bit of a relief, boom, major sell-off. 2026, we're getting the pump, we're getting a little bit of relief. Are we going to get the massive sell-off again? So it's really important to start to take note of this. I'm particularly watching this, and I want to show you guys how this looks on Bitcoin right now. So before I get into the alt and where I'm seeing the real value at the moment, I wanted to show you guys Bitcoin because this one here is the real big daddy for me, right? This is the one I'm watching. I'm going to show you guys this chart in particular because this is what a lot of people are watching at the moment. And I've been mapping this out and I've had it mapped out for a very long time. But at the same time, we have to be conscious of the fact, like I was saying, that the S&P is continuing to run. Now, we know that there is a CME gap sitting around this level for Bitcoin, which also lines up with the 200 daily EMA. So you can see that there, that's that green line. Now, as price continues to rise in this occasion, it has to make two particular breakout points. We have to break out above the 80,600 level, and then we also would need to break above the 200 EMA to get that real scream that everyone starts going on about at the moment where, you know, Bitcoin 100,000 is back on the cards. I don't think that is possible right now. And I mean that in the instance of literally right now. I don't mean in 3 months' time. I don't mean in 6 months' time. I don't mean in a year's time. I mean in the current trading environment. There is a lot of resistance above to just be screaming $100,000 Bitcoin all of a sudden. So how do I see this playing out? And then where do I see the value? That is the big question, right? That's what everyone wants to see. That's what everyone wants to hear is where do we see the value next? The way I see this playing out at the moment, whilst we continue to get a run on the S&P 500, you can see that here, the SPX, where we're sitting at the moment is very much a significant all-time high, but there is still room to move. And what I mean by that, between the 113 fib level, which is around the 7,093 points mark, and 7,190, it's about a 1.5% move. So that is still a reasonable move on the S&P. Now, as Bitcoin continues to hold and continues to hold well, I wanted to show you guys this. You can see here on the 4-hour time frame, price has essentially been consolidating. So over the last, I would say 24 to 48 hours, price has actually done quite well. It continues to hold just below that trend line that we were seeing on the daily time frame taking effect. So that to me tells me that Bitcoin is actually holding its level. It's actually doing quite well in the grand scheme of things. We're not seeing any significant sell-off at the moment. And every dip that continues to occur continues to get brought up. So what does that mean? In the grand scheme of things, what does that mean? Well, this is how I'm interpreting this right now. And then I'll show you guys why I think there is a lot of value personally in some of the altcoins at the moment. And I'm very selective. So I'm going to show you guys the exact ones that I'm watching right now. So as I see this playing out, we've got the consolidation taking effect. I do believe we're going to come up and we are going to test the $80,500 mark, whether it's tonight or on Monday. I don't really take price action into consideration over the weekend. It's not something I'm a big fan of. But again, if it does happen, it's not going to be a major push. I think if we do get anything over the weekend, then it's going to get swept very early on next week. But ultimately, I think we get a breakout to around the 80,500 mark. but ultimately it looks like price is wanting to come to that CME gap. So that is the main point of rejection in what I'm looking for. It's where I'm going to be setting my alert. In particular, I'm going to be setting my alert right here at 82,600-ish, 83,000. But the reason I've chosen that spot right there is it lines up with the 200 daily EMA. So I would expect a quick reaction off that point regardless. Now, let me break this down for you. And this is what I want to talk about from the overall real value perspective. All right. Where price is currently, where price can head to, it's about 5.5% move. Now, if price was to head towards 88,000, which is the next big resistance point, that is about 11% move. But let's say hypothetically we start screaming 100K Bitcoin, all right? And 100K Bitcoin brings us up towards, we'll just move that up a little bit, around the 27% mark. Reality is, it's got a big fat order zone sitting around 96 and 98K. So that would realistically be my extended target for the current situation, which is about 25%. Now, if you're a trader, trading is a game of percentages. It's not so much what the token value is, it's about how you can compound percentages over time to grow your account balance. That should be the biggest focus. That's been my biggest focus. It's what has allowed me to grow my trading account from, say, $1,000 into multiple six figures, right? So this is my strategy. I simply look at compounding my growth over time. So I wanted to bring that to your attention because this is where I see the real value coming right now. I don't see real value in Bitcoin. Yes, Bitcoin is the big daddy. Yes, Bitcoin dictates the market. Hands down, we cannot contest with that. However, do I see real value in Bitcoin? If I was getting into this space, obviously you'd want to learn how to trade first, not just buy a whole bunch of degen tokens. But if I'm leverage trading, which is a big portion of my trading, yeah, I can trade Bitcoin and I only really trade 10x, right? To be transparent. I can trade Bitcoin at 10x and I'll get some really good gains out of it. And I have, and I do. But I also want to start to get into the altcoins because the altcoins are starting to move and it's where I see the value. So first one off the rank I want to show you guys. Spoke about this on Monday. It is Hype Token. Now you guys are probably thinking, Matt, you just showed me 25% on Bitcoin to 100K. But is that 25% realistic? Right now, I don't believe so. That's my personal opinion. You guys can tell me otherwise. Feel free to let me know in the comments. Make sure you're smashing the like button as well because we want to get this stream out to as many people as possible. We've just started growing this YouTube channel, so I appreciate you guys that are watching. It does really help. And we are starting to get a lot of traction on our videos, which is fantastic, as well as my sessions on Coin Bureau as well. But the big shout out here is the next move for Hype Token, what I'm watching for, and I'm actually looking to open a position today on this, is it's an 18% move to the top of the range here. Now, that's just my first target for Hype. My extended target for Hype actually lands about 47%. So it's a lot more, right? It is a lot more higher value. It's back to the top of the range. And I see this as a highly probable trade in the current situation. Now, what I mean by that is it doesn't mean, no, we get a straight green candle straight to the top of Hype. No, that is not the point. What I mean by this is, as it currently stands, I expect Hype to hit $48. If we get the breakout above this trend that you can see here, then my next target will be $59. But first, we need to get the breakout above that point, right? At that point there, I'll look for rejections, I'll look for opportunities to take profit. And if price breaks out, I'll run that extended target towards the $59 mark. So I'll take a snapshot of this. I'll show you guys this full play, which I have. And yes, we've got a bit of a rising wedge forming as well, so we need to take that into consideration. But I am looking at Hype Token at the moment because, again, it has performed quite well. It's respecting all the fib levels. It's respecting all the trends. And that there would be very much my extended target on Hype Token. You guys can go back, you can have a look at this on Monday. I also put a reel on my socials. You can see all my socials down the bottom there. So if you're wanting to follow me along during the midweek sessions, jump onto there, or ultimately you can jump onto Empire. Again, this is where we post all our updates, all our offers, and all our live calls get hosted here as well. So we've got about 6 to 7 live calls every single week, plus live trading calls during the London, Asia, and US session as well. We've got coaches helping every single person out. But the next one I wanted to look for, and I'll show you guys how I'm actually, before I even jump into that, the way I'm looking at setting this up is I want to try and get in around that $40 mark, right? 40.7. I'll have my stop loss just below the range there, below this red candle. You can see that here. And then I'll be happily being able to run this, go about my day, and let this trade do its own thing, not having to worry about it all that much. Stop loss gets hit. That's what a stop loss for. Take profit gets hit. Happy days, pays off for all the TCG Pokemon I brought today, which was way too much. But the next couple of tokens I've got on my list is, the next one is Link. I want to show you guys Link, and the reason for that being is this token here, I think is still significantly undervalued. And right now, instead of having any significant breakout, it's been consolidating again. It's been consolidating at the bottom of the range, and it's actually just broken out of the downwards trend that was happening within this range. So it's a really good early sign. And on top of that, it's also produced a nice fat order zone. So if you guys have been following me for a very long time, you guys know my biggest following on Facebook. My X is just starting to grow. So is my Instagram, as I've started to put a lot of focus into there. But order zones, I love them. Why do I love them? Because it demonstrates real activity, demonstrates real buying and selling pressure. And between $8.69 and $9.42, we are now starting to see actual buying and selling pressure taking place. So this is acting as a really good level of support at the moment. And I want to show you guys something here, because again, I'm talking about real value. Where do I see value outside of Bitcoin, where I see overall, I'm going to get a better bang for my risk to reward ratio, as well as better bang for buck in terms of how much money I'm willing to put on a trade. So if I look at this right now, I've got the breakout, I've got the retest that's taken effect off the daily order zone at around $9.11. This would be my next target at $10, okay? Standard, nice, clean level. You can see it here on the left. That's your resistance. You can see it here on the left. That is your resistance. A clear breakout here, followed by a retest and a push, which again, I don't believe is unrealistic. Even if we do see Bitcoin throw another 5% leg, 6% leg, and altcoins really get going, this is not off the cards because these things have sold off dramatically. As you can see in the thumbnail, I put a lot of these coins are still 70% down from their previous highs at the last cycle at around $126,000 on Bitcoin. So for me, looking at this, I look at this and go, well, a 30% push on Link back to $11, that is nothing, because literally in January, that's where it was. It was at $12 mark. I love Fibonacci ratios. It's where I base all my targets off. They've always been good to me. It's again what I'm basing my targets off, and again off the order zone of the 113 fib level. So I'm looking at this, and to me, this presents right now good value. Even to the top of this resistance point, it's 9%. It's not unrealistic in the grand scheme of things. The next point for me would be the 31%. Now, as a trader, this for me is a great opportunity. This is what I'm watching for. I'm also looking at potentially putting an entry on Link right now. And at the same time, like I tell people, you don't have to look for those tokens that are going to run up thousands of percent. It's about incremental gains. It's what allows you to help you build and compound your account balance over a period of time. So take note of this, right? You guys aren't late. You guys haven't missed anything. A lot of people already message me, have I missed the drop? Have I missed the dip? Mate, from the lowest point right now, let's just have a think about this. From the lowest point right now to where we are, it's a 15% move. If you want to get real degen and really take it from the bottom of this wick, which majority of people never would have hit, it's 30%. But if you zoom out on this, before we get into the other altcoins I want to show you guys, if you zoom out on this, from where we are currently to where we are at the previous July, it is nearly a 200% move. You are not late. Let's just be clear about that. So I'm looking at this at the moment. I'm looking at the 4-hour time frame. Price is continuing to hold. Things look like they're ramping up tonight. The SPX dropped slightly, but it hasn't actually opened yet. You can see still 8 minutes till open. The US futures market is again predicting positive action for tonight. So we'll see how that one lies. And again, things are relatively stable as it seems right now, with the ceasefire still intact in Iran and the US. Now, the next couple of tokens I want to show you guys. Thank you for you guys that are stuck around. I gave you really the big, the start of the alpha at the start with Bitcoin. That's really the big piece that a lot of people want to hear. But the real value is now, this is where we start to dive deeper. So Solana is the next big one. Similar sort of fashion, right? Solana has dropped dramatically. Has anything fundamentally changed with Solana? No. If I look at this back to the top of the range, it is 180%, right? That is where we were in August 2025. If we get really excited to where people were screaming crazy Solana prices, that was 231% back in January 2025. But as it stands, value, where do I see the real value? This is what I see happening on Solana, especially if Bitcoin can do what I'm thinking and head back towards, that 83K mark. 83K, I'm predicting at least a 13% move on Solana. If we get more than that, this is where I start to get excited, because you can see, similar to Link, which I was just showing you guys, I'll zoom in here. We've had the early stage of the breakout. We've had the retest. Now I'm looking at the push to above of that range, get the retest. The next leg up lines up perfectly with that EMA as well. So in total, how does this look? Reality is, from the base here back to the 200 EMA, it's a 36% move. To the top of the range, it's a 44% move. That is huge. That's a lot more than the 25% back to 100K Bitcoin. So tell me now, let me know in the comments. If you're watching this video later on, let me know, where do you see the value? Right now, I see it in this more than what I see it in Bitcoin. And I don't take that lightly. You guys that do follow me and have followed me for many years, you would know that I would never say that lightly. Bitcoin will always dictate the moves. I always put my hand on my heart and talk about that. And if Bitcoin was to drop, then obviously this is completely out of the cards, right? If Bitcoin does play out that bear flag and Bitcoin tanks back towards 50K, that is a different scenario altogether. But when I talk about value from where we are currently and people screaming 100K Bitcoin, I see value in this play than what I do 100K Bitcoin. So that's what I'm watching for on this one at the moment. What I'll do is I'm going to take a snapshot of this as well. I'm going to post it inside Empire. So if you aren't in Empire just yet, make sure you go into the description section, sign up your free account. It's where you can look at the charts, and then you can jump on the live calls. That one there is not free, unfortunately, just to be very honest with you all. Again, I do have to pay staff and things like that, but that's what I do on a Monday night. I go through a really deep dive analysis for an hour and a half with the community as well. So that's what I'm looking at the moment on Solana. And I've got another banger I want to share with you all. All right, I'll take a snapshot of this. Download that one there. The next big banger is STX. Again, one many people are not watching, but we do have very, very good early signs. So I want to show you guys this. There's a very big range on STX. It's about an 82% move. We'll tidy this up just slightly, right? It's about an 80%. Back to the top of the order zone, you get about 85 if you want to really extend it. We'll do that just to clean it up. We've had the inverted hammer. I love to see an inverted hammer at the bottom of the downtrend because it's a good early sign that buyers are starting to take control, especially when you find it at a level of support. At a level of resistance, it means something completely different. It means sellers are in control. But at the bottom of a downtrend, it tells you that buyers are starting to step in. Now, on top of that, we are starting to form a strong bullish divergence as well. Again, selling pressure is indicating that it's starting to lower, and buying pressure is starting to step in as they overtake the selling pressure. Now, the move from here to the top of the range, again, 85%, it's the weekly time frame. So the way I would see this playing out, it's why you saw an earlier blue line, is I had this line here put in. So as I would look at this, I'd want to see a breakout, a retest, another breakout, another retest, and then a full push, which would then mean we have to also cover the 200 EMA as well. But for me, not an unrealistic play. This has been curling up for quite some time. Right now, if I look at how many days prices hang below here, it is 128 days. That to me is a strong consolidation phase taking effect. And we're starting to get a nice order zone below. We've got an order zone above, so we do need to break out at that point. But again, good value. It's 21%. That's basically the move on Bitcoin to 100%. Yet, there's also the opportunity, if we do get the full breakout in Bitcoin going to 100K, of scoring basically 91% from the bottom of the range to the top of the range, 85 to 90%. We'll give it a bit of a roundish number. Or a variable number, probably the best way. And the other big one, which I spoke about earlier, talking about the fact of the money flow is Ethereum. So a lot of people sort of don't focus on Ethereum that much. I focus on Ethereum from the point in which it demonstrates to me what I think the altcoin market is going to be doing. And as it stands at the moment, I called the breakout off this base, okay? Off the retest, and then you had the push. So that was about I think it was about a 15 to 20%, 15% move, right? As it stands, we haven't broken out to the next leg. So Ethereum is still stuck below the resistance point. However, if this can break out, then I'd be looking for a retest and a large scale push. Now I've measured this from the base just in case Ethereum does come back down towards this level, 2,163. Sorry guys, keep touching my nose, but it's because I've got a bit of hay fever. But off the base of this level, it's about a 65% move. Now if Bitcoin was to go back to 100 grand, I don't think it's unrealistic for Ethereum to head back towards 3,500, right? Even let's be conservative, if Ethereum went back towards 3,300, it's a 50% move. Let's say even more conservative, Ethereum heads towards $3,000. That's a 40% move still. So where do I see value? Right now, I don't see value in Bitcoin. Right now, I see value in large cap altcoins. It's what I'm targeting. It's what I'm focused on. It's where I'm looking for some potential moves because these tokens are holding up quite well. If you want to do yourself a favor, look at the BTC parents. Look how they're ranging up as well. Look at Ethereum at the moment. It's had the full scale breakout. It's currently in the retest position. It's got an 8% move back towards the top of the next range. This can hold. Bitcoin holds. We get a little bit of a breakout. Again, I think Ethereum will be the first early mover. And we all know what loves to move along Ethereum. It's your one and only frog token, Pepe. That is my next one. And the one I want to wrap up with, because that is doing really well. I just did see something quickly. ZEC has bounced perfectly. Look at that move we lined up on Monday. That is a happy day move. Nearly 28% on ZEC. So congratulations if you're paying attention to that one. It's a 4.5% risk to reward, 28% move to the top of the range. Beautiful. Thank you very much. And we can't not have a look at it. But Pepe is very similar. This one here hasn't got as much room at the moment. Still got 30% to the top, but into resistance at the moment. I want to see the breakout, retest, and then the push on Pepe. So I'm going to drop this chart in the Empire platform now. And I want to say thank you for you guys that have tuned in tonight or today, depending on where you are. Thank you very much. It's been a massive week. I'll be on again on Monday on Coin Bureau Trading. I'll be on live within the Empire platform as well. And if you haven't, we have a bunch of offers in the description. We've also got some 14-day free trials as well for Empire Gold membership. So take advantage of that. And thank you all for tuning in. Thank you for sharing the channel as well. We are starting to grow. Like I said, we've just really started streaming on this channel. So thank you very much. And I'll catch you guys on Monday. Have an awesome weekend and good luck trading tonight. See you later.